Joining us now, 1789 Capital's Donald Trump Jr. and Omeed Malik. Gentlemen, you're at the table with us on set.
Great to be here.
Great to have you here.
Thank you.
We're going to talk about lots of different things, but let's first talk about the idea for something that you're referring to as an Amazon of guns, which I don't know, your worst nightmare almost, Andrew.
Andrew's not going to be a fan of this
but we can talk about...
I'm not a customer, but I actually have interesting thoughts about all
SPAC.
this.
Okay, it's going to be a SPAC. It'll be within the next month or so.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize, 17 million guns are sold in the United States every year, most of them for hundreds of dollars. It's an industry that has had some pressure for efforts to defund that industry. Yeah. And I know I'm looking at you, but I'm really looking at everyone. But this would be a way of putting it online. How would it actually work with regulations and everything else?
Listen, you still have to go through the regular FFL process. This isn't like the typical sound bites of, hey, they're just going to mail a gun to your house. No. But what you can do is you can consume and you can shop the way so many people do today. As you see the insanity that's going on in the world, you see fire bombings in Colorado last week. There's a lot of people in the last few years, especially under the chaos of the Biden administration with illegal, rampant crime. There's a lot of people that are buying guns that wouldn't have been the typical guys that were buying guns like I've been doing for decades. There's women coming into the marketplace for self-defense. There's a younger generation that's shifting to the conservative side that understands the need to exercise their Second Amendment and wants to do that. This is giving them an opportunity with GrabAGun to shop the way they shop for virtually everything else.
Handguns?
Again, through an FFL. So you have to send it to...
But handguns or would there be hunting rifles?
Rifles, shotguns, handguns, accessories.
Easier to load than that Tim Waltz. Remember that?
Well, as a serious gun guy, someone who was very involved in sort of the NRA endorsement of my father back in 2016. I said, I don't know that he's the hunter that everyone says he is when he couldn't load a basic Benelli A400 in about 3 seconds. I think it was a Benelli A400, but this is something I could do blindfolded. If he was struggling, he's probably not the hunter that was intimidating the Republicans that they were saying.
How do you deal with the idea of packages getting stolen? I just think about iPhones that are getting stolen.
No, but again, when you send the actual gun, accessories would go directly to your house. Firearms still have to go to a federal firearms license process, right? So that is sent to your local dealer, wherever that may be. But as you've seen, Walmart used to be the largest retailer of firearms in America. Corporate policies changed. You can no longer have that access. You couldn't go to your local Walmart and buy these things anymore. So this is covering that void. But again, it's not what you're seeing, the misnomers of you're sending guns to people's homes and they can just send it to your apartment. It doesn't work that way.
Here's my question. This is going to democratize it and open it up for, and likely because it's online,
correct,
younger people. Now, the question is going to be about training and safety and all those types of things. And so the only question I have, I was actually thinking about this in the context of HIMS. Do you know about HIMS? HIMS is this online drugstore where people are buying...
he knows nothing about... You mean for ED stuff? No, these guys know nothing.
That is not something I know anything about.
They've never heard of that.
Never even heard of it.
No, but what's interesting about it is effectively...
I appreciate that.
You don't have to go to a...
I'm not sure that you would actually know that, just for the record, either. But
you don't have to go to a doctor on your own. You just go online, say some stuff to the doctor. They send you the medicine, and that's supposed to democratize it and make it better. This is a little bit different because you basically still have the licensed firearm dealer on the other side, but as a result, you just have there's going to be a lot more guns in the country, and maybe that's okay as a Second Amendment supporter. My question to you though is, are you concerned at all though just about the safety issue? And, and what that means.
I'm not. I think the reality is, most of the people that are buying guns are doing so to protect themselves. Part of what we do is try to encourage that kind of training. I say that all the time, right? People have to get out there. I saw that as a guy that lived in New York City, the People's Republic, for years. I used to take my friends that were ardent anti-gun people. And I'd say, listen, you've known me for a long time. Give me a couple hours. What do you mean? No, I don't want to go guns. You take them upstate. We go shooting. Within 5 minutes, that was the greatest thing ever. When are we doing it again? When people experience it, when they get out there, when they do that proper training, which we encourage, it's amazing what you can create. You can take an anti-gun person and turn them into pro-gun, or at least make them not anti in about a couple hours.
Are there questions or things that you will do before you'll send them the gun?
There's no difference than if you went into, you can go with no training and go into a regular gun shop and do this. This simplifies that process. But again, through that, you are actually going to that shop. You can learn about the training that they offer, and which we encourage. So, I definitely encourage everyone to get those kinds of trainings. I think it should be a passion. I think the more that happens, the more the industry will grow, and I think that's really important.
You have any questions about fees on the SPAC? Or
well, no. Well, that's one thing we talked about for years, which is just, at least historically, a lot of SPACs have not worked. It's worked for the promoter. It hasn't worked for the shareholder. That has actually not been the case in a lot of the SPACs that you guys have been engaged in. But maybe you can explain why you think that's been the case thus far.
Yeah, for sure. So when we first started working together 4 years ago, it was during the Biden administration. We were really concerned about what we felt was happening, where elements of the federal government were working with very big companies, in our mind, to suppress certain rights, namely, in our case, the First Amendment. So that's when you had the backlash against being deplatformed. And we wanted to do something about it. So as capitalists, we said, what's the way that we could bring that to the people? We started observing what happened with Truth Social, with the SPAC, and we saw this as an opportunity to democratize capital markets. People went and bought the stock, even though it was a nascent business. So I know you guys were covering, like, this has a $5 billion market cap, even though it's a new company. That showed that people wanted to support it. And SPACs ended up becoming a very elegant mechanism to do that for what we were branding parallel or patriotic economy that we wanted to build together.
Why do you think? Why do you think that it failed in so many cases for others? Meaning, you can go. It's the SPAC sort of laundry list is littered with effectively failure. And so I'm trying to understand why you think yours are working and the others weren't.
Well, they're working because it allows regular people to buy it and support it. So if you look at what happened with Truth Social, how far the stock price went up, or Rumble, which is another one he was an investor in, or the one we did, Public Square, and now GrabAGun. I mean, I'll give you a statistic. We're trading at like $17 or $18. These things are supposed to be at 10. This shows that people support what we're doing. And look, we're not new to this. We think that capital markets and finance has been politicized for a long time, but it's all been on the ESG side. We're the first people to institutionalize a response to that. And we're not the people out of government who have done that.
No, really, there was a demand that half the country was being put on the sidelines.
Yeah.
They wanted free speech. So when I got involved with Chris Pavlovsky and Rumble in 2020, I saw what was happening to me. We were getting deplatformed off what was Twitter 1.0.
YouTube.
You couldn't say anything on Facebook. YouTube, I mean, if I put up a video on YouTube, I'd be off in 2 seconds. So we saw that demand. Other people felt it. Right? Whether you see it in banking, half the country was getting debanked or worried about it. These things were actually happening in America. And so we filled a void that no one else would even touch. It was a landmine.
I get that. I'm just trying to understand the economics in terms of like what your promote is, how long you're in for, when you can sell. Given the projections that you'll make for several years out, are you in for as long as the projection is out there?
And so in the case of Public Square, I joined the board of the company, so you're not selling anything in that case. And he's on the board now of Public Square. So these are ideological investments for us.
We believe in these things.
We actually believe in these things.